Review. Book 101's all about the books that I've read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. Breaking the silence around grief, one her advocacy and the author of the upcoming book, The Year After, Kylia. No other than Miss Kirsten O'Connor. Welcome, Miss Kristen, on Book 101 Review. And can you please introduce more about yourself that I missed?
Thank you so much for having me here. So my name is Kirsten. I'm from New Zealand, and I have just about to release the book The Year After Kalia, which is available worldwide. It's a book looking at grief after the death of my 24-year-old daughter Kalia. I wanted to share with people what grief can feel like, but not in a platitude way. Actually, sitting in the wreckage and actually feeling what grief felt like. So a lot of it was written in real time in order to help people with their own grief and to be seen and to have space in that and have someone companioning you with it. Yeah.
Yes, and thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. Miss Kristen. Thank you. The title frames A Year After is, well, for you, what is the most disorienting change in the most ordinary moment? The
Mm.
first
Yeah.
time you made coffee, drove a car, or heard the song. What made a new, unthinkable reality concrete?
Oh, that's a great question. And I think that you're absolutely right in how you frame that. It's in all the little things. I had a very close relationship with my daughter. She lived with me and we spoke all the time. So I think that just having the phone be silent was a huge impact for me. But to be honest, there's still a part of me that it's still, you don't still believe it, like it's so far out of your realm of thinking that someone you love so incredibly much is not here anymore. So whilst I know logically, I think it's quite a hard concept to actually live with and to get your head around.
We often speak of grief as an emotion, but they live in your body. Can you describe a physical sensation, the weight, the exhaustion, and the sensory overload that become your constant companions on those early days and weeks?
Yeah, and that is so important. That was something I really didn't understand. And it's something that I explore in the book about how grief really invades your body, both your body and your mind. And it is a protection mechanism. So the absolutely you're running on a fight or flight or an adrenaline response. So your body is absolutely exhausted, but yet you can't sleep at the same time. So you're not able to rest and recover. And we live in a world where you're expected to return to work, to do ordinary things, to plan a funeral, and you're really functioning on a complete shock. The front part of your brain, your prefrontal cortex, is absolutely not working anymore. So to think logically or to understand time or to reply to sort of inane emails and things like that is incredibly hard in those early stages of grief.
So, Miss Kristen, the survival. The book subtitle begins with
Mm.
surviving. What does survival literally look like in the first 24 hours, the first week? What was the non negotiable tiny action you clung to just to make it through an hour?
Yeah, and you're absolutely right there. It is about getting through minute by minute. I used to often say step by step. And the days can feel equally long and equally short. You've got no concept of time. When I was first, the first few days after Kalia died, I wrote lists. I honestly couldn't process, I couldn't think, and I would have to write everything down so that I could function. And some of those things was having a shower or getting dressed or who to email or who I needed to contact that day. I did organize Kalia's funeral. I didn't want a funeral. I also didn't, it was part of a process that I didn't want to be a part of, but you need to do it. So I really focused on that on those first few days. So what I needed to do, I have a younger son who was 15 at the time, so I needed to keep myself together and be there for him as well.
Miss Christine, in the immediate flood of support, what was the most common thing well meaning people said or did that, however unintended, felt like salt in the wound? Conversely, that was the simplest, most helpful gesture.
The most helpful gesture. Um,
Yes, please.
the most helpful gesture is people when you're grieving, they don't know how to. I mean, when none of us are good with death, really, and people don't know how to communicate with you or what to do. And they often lead, like they will say, I'll come round if you'd like me to, or I will, what do you need? And in a normal life, that is very kind and very understanding and really important. It gives someone agency over what they're wanting. But in those first months of grieving, you're unable to make decisions, and it actually puts a whole level um, on the grieving person where they don't know what to say, they don't know what to do, and it can put a pressure on them. So, the best thing that anyone did for me was take the decision out of their hands, out of my hands, sorry. I had people that would just leave food on my doorstep with instructions of how to cook it. And so it took everything away from me. And that was probably one of the most valuable things at the time.
What compelled you to pick, or yeah, to pick up on a pen or open document in the midst of that devastation? What is a conscious decision to write through loss, or more primal, necessary outpouring?
So I've always written journals. When Kalia first died, I didn't write. I avoided it. I felt that the minute that I put it down on paper, that it would make it real. But at the same time, I had so much going around in my head and so much that was getting confused. I couldn't think straight that I needed to write. So the night before her funeral, I wrote everything that had happened. I did. I also had a fear that I would forget, so I wrote everything with that had happened, and that really opened a whole world for me. I've since learnt that actually writing things down actually calms the emotional part of the brain. So it is a calming act. So it became really important to me to feel grounded and level. I also, as I said before, I used to speak to Kalia all the time. So it was really strange for me to not have conversations with her. So I started writing to her. And sometimes it would be a letter, or sometimes it would be anger, or sometimes it would be the same word over and over again. But the writing became my witness, and it became a way that I could, one, keep a track of what was going on, two, remember things. I was really scared of forgetting small details. But three, keeping me somewhat sane in a world that felt full of chaos.
Did writing, especially in the early stages, feel like conversation with Kalia or
Oh,
screaming the world?
yeah. Oh, both. It was absolutely a conversation with her. I still write to her. I find it really, I write to her as I spoke to her. But then it would be other moments where I would be angry at the world and angry at the why this had happened, and trying to clarify what was going. So I had different. There was no structure. There was no right way to do it. It was just getting things down on paper, and that became so important to me, and is still important to me now.
Publishing such a raw grief is an act of immense courage. What was the moment you realized your private writings needed to become a public book? Was there a fear that sharing might dilute or expose your most sacred pain?
That's that's really
Hmm.
funny that you asked that, because honestly, until it's made its way in the world recently, I had never thought about that. But it does leave you feeling extremely vulnerable. But I'm only feeling that now. Um, Kalia and I lived our life with full authenticity and honesty. I don't. There's nothing I have in my world that I hide. I don't believe in secrets. When I was going through my own grief, I read a lot, I listened a lot. I've always researched, I'm really curious about things. And I found that a lot of the grief material out there was sort of full of platitudes and full of that things, eventually would help and all those sorts of things. I really wanted someone to understand where I sat. So that was where the writing for Kalia came about, that I really wanted to, one, have my own recollection of what happened. It's from my journals and my thoughts, but also what was happening to my body, but also to help someone else to not feel quite so alone in something that is extremely isolating.
Extremely isolating. And Miss Kristen, how did the act of structuring this experience into a narrative,
Mm.
chapters, themes, a year?
So it's really interesting how it came about. It came about that I it came out of fear that I would forget things about Kalia. And I actually started, there was an online program that you could answer questions and put in photos and write chapters. So I wrote two of these books initially, and family and friends would read them, and they said, "This is really interesting." There was no logic to these books. It was, I mean, I had a chapter about Kalia's bedroom. It was just really important details I didn't want to miss. So it actually started from there. So then I started to think about what the things were that I was struggling in with grief. So I thought about the chapters that I wanted to write, or what I wanted to write them about, and I sorted them through. But it actually initially started as a memoir, so I wrote it from my journals, and that's how, yeah, the beginning. Then it morphed a bit further because I thought, oh no, I actually want to understand what was happening with my body and my brain, and why I was behaving in certain ways. And the fact that it's not just that you choose this, there's biological reasons behind it. I have a psychology degree, so I thought, oh, I'm actually going to research this and look into this a little bit more. And that was the second part of the book. And then the third, I wanted people to feel empowered that they could do something with it. So writing was so important to me that I added in writing tasks in there. There's letters in there. There's small rituals in there to help people, just micro tasks that can help people feel a bit grounded and centered, and hopefully help. They may not, but they certainly helped me.
Mm, definitely. So, Ms. Kristen, a common fear is that move forward is to leave the loved one behind. How can you navigate carrying Kalia with you in a way that feels sustaining, not paralyzing?
Yeah. I'm going to grieve her my whole life, and I want to grieve her my whole life. I don't it's not it's I like, she moves with me. It's not you get over something, or you move on. It's just that you do move forward. Writing for me with Kalia, both writing books and also writing to her, keeps her really alive for me. We talk about her all the time. I love talking about her. Kalia was an amazing person and absolute joy of my life. So really thoroughly enjoy working in this space. And I often say that Kalia started the conversation and I'm continuing it. Kalia struggled with mental health issues. So it's about being an advocate in that mental health space, helping people in the grieving space. And really, I just want to do her proud.
Mhm. Definitely be proud, of course. The memory as a living thing, Miss
Mm.
Kristen. Memories can feel fragile. Has writing the book changed your relationship to your memories of Kalia? Do they
Mm.
feel more secure, more vivid, or different in some way?
Yeah, that part of writing was from that fear. So I would do things very early on because, as I said, the brain works quite differently. So you have memory gaps, you don't recall things. It's a very valid fear for people in a grieving process that they won't get that memory back. So I became very sort of action orientated, I guess, about that, that I would write lists. So I would write list of Kalia's favorite clothes, or write down what perfume she was using at the time, or write down her favorite songs. So I was really vigilant in keeping those records there. And as I said, I've written, there's two sort of personal books that helped me keep that. But part of keeping her memory alive is talking about her and keeping her alive with me, because it is they call it continuous bond, where they're continually part of your life. You do things for them. We buy. Kalia loved fresh flowers, so I buy flowers every single week, and I have them next to. She was cremated, so I have them next to her urn, and she's just part of our lives as she can be.
So, Miss Kristen, as an author, what are your short-term and long-term goals?
One of my short and long term goals. I really laugh because I have written another book. It was a heavier book, but I'm just writing one at the moment. And they're all grief themed. The book I'm writing at the moment, and I laugh because it's a little bit out there, is I have a 17-and-a-half-year-old dog. And he was part of Kalia's life for a very long time. And I've often thought about, what does he think about the world? So I'm writing a book, and I don't know if it will go anywhere. I don't know. I mean, I write for myself, so it may go somewhere. It might be a gift that may get out there. But it's
Yes.
about a dog's view on grief and love and ordinary days. So they have so many things that they can teach us just about being present and accepting the world as it is. So it's a really thoroughly enjoyable project. And again, he's 17 and a half. He was diagnosed with cancer not long ago. He's already outlived his lifespan, which is 14. So he's doing amazingly well, but I'm very conscious that he's not going to be here much longer. So partly memory making for him as well.
Well, good luck for that, Miss Kristen. And looking forward for more success. And what will be your piece of advice for those people out there want to be an author like you?
Oh, just do it. Just get it out there. But I think that probably the most important thing is it has to be something for you. It is personal, and I think if you're writing for someone else, it's not the same. It does need to be purely how you want it, what message you do want to get out or not get out. Like, writing should be fun and enjoyable. And I know I write about really heavy topics. The year after Kalia was certainly a difficult write, but it was enjoyable in the fact that I was writing something that I could feel proud of, and I really enjoyed the work, and I can see the work really helping others.
Well, thank you for that advice, Miss Kirsten. And can you please recommend a book or books that influence your journey?
That's a hard. You want me to recommend other books?
Yes, please.
Oh God, there's so many out there. And I mean, in the grieving circles, I love Megan Devine's books. I love Breno Brown's books. All those sorts of. They've got such powerful concepts that they teach us. There's also another book from Good Morning in Australia, which is about different grieving styles. So there's so many books that are coming out there. It feels like it's people are really changing and looking after themselves, which is so powerful.
Hmm. Powerful indeed. And thank you for that advice, Miss Kristen. And of course, for those recommendation book as well, or books. And tell us, in writing and sharing this, how has it become a way for Kalia's spirit, or her story and her impact to continue to touch people and create ripples in the world?
Mm, mm. As I write about Carly, I do try and capture how she was. She was incredibly kind, incredibly empathetic. So people that have read the book feel that they really know her as she was, and that was really important for me to people actually see what an amazing, courageous woman she absolutely was, and especially in the work in the mental health space to break down those barriers that mental health issues such as depression and anxiety, it doesn't mean that someone is difficult to be around or that someone doesn't have amazing aspects of their life. So her story is absolutely not finished. This is just one small part of it.
One small part of it. Well, Miss Kristen, before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people, my other podcast, because my Abstract Essay is already in sixth season, Abstract Poetry in third season, and of course my book 101 review in sixth season as well, comedy 101 third season, and my food 101 in sixth season as well, geography 101, love letters, movie 101 review, music 101 our fifth season, science 101, sex 101 our fourth season, trivia 101, law 101, mental health 101, motivation 101, entrepreneurship 101, and of course my bible verses 101. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Miss Kristen, to end where we begin with love, if you could speak to the love that persists between you and Kalia now, what would you say it looks like, feels like, and is made of?
Ah, I just feel that she's with me absolutely in this work. She would expect me to go big and to do it in her name, and that's exactly what I'm doing. So I feel extremely close to Kalia. This is where my life will continue to move forward in her honor and just to do her justice. She was an incredible woman.
Incredible woman indeed. And thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom through the world through your books, Miss Kristen. So can you please invite our listeners to support your books, your advocacy, or whatever projects that you're doing right now?
Um, so you can visit on thisisgrief.nz, and that has everything available on there.
Yes, people, let's support Miss Kristen, because if you support her, for sure, more and more empowering books like this to rise. So, Miss Kristen, when will be this book available?
It's available on pre-sales from all the big sites, and it will be out for order on the 21st of February.
Yes, people, let's support Miss Kristen. So, Mordecai, people, see you soon.